Hi students, today we discuss about the transport of respiratory gases such as O2 and CO2. So the transport of respiratory gases O2 and CO2. The respiratory gases O2 and CO2 transports through blood in the form of their products. So the respiratory gases does not transport through blood in the natural form. They transport through the blood in the form of their products. The blood carries oxygen from lungs to body cells, where food is oxidized. Now the cells release CO2, carbon dioxide. This carbon dioxide transports from cells to lungs through blood. So the blood carries oxygen and carbon dioxide between lungs and cells. So oxygen carried by blood from lungs to cells. This oxygen enter into cells. Now the food is oxidized with the help of oxygen. In this reactions, CO2 is produced. This CO2 released into blood from the cell. So now the blood carries this CO2 from cells to lungs for its elimination. So blood carries oxygen and carbon dioxide. First we discuss transportation of oxygen. O2 transport. The O2 transports from lungs to cells by blood in two ways. Such as by plasma and by RBC. So blood carries oxygen from lungs to cells in two ways, such as by plasma and by RBC. First we discuss through plasma. Oxygen transports through blood plasma. The oxygen does not easily dissolve in the water. So about 3% of oxygen dissolve in the blood plasma. So blood plasma carries about 3% of oxygen from lungs to cells in dissolved state. So O2, about 3% of oxygen transports through plasma in dissolved state. So this is transportation of oxygen through plasma. So about 3% of oxygen transports in dissolved state through plasma. Next, by RBC. About 97% of oxygen transport by RBC. The human blood contains RBC, WBC and platelets. Here the only RBC can transport the oxygen, not RBC and platelets. Why? The human RBC contains hemoglobin. It is absent in WBC and platelet. So WBC and platelet does not carry the oxygen due to absence of hemoglobin. But RBC contains hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment. It is a respiratory pigment. Hemoglobin is a respiratory pigment. It can carry the oxygen. Now we discuss about the brief structure of hemoglobin. Hemoglobin is a compound protein. Hemoglobin is a compound protein. Hemoglobin has two parts. One is heme, another one is globin. Here, globin is a protein. Globin is a protein. Generally, proteins are made by or formed by amino acids. During protein synthesis, amino acids binds and form the polypeptide chains. These polypeptide chains made the protein. So, the globin protein of hemoglobin also made by polypeptide chains. One molecule of hemoglobin contains are made by 4 polypeptide chains, in which 2 are alpha chains and 2 are beta chains. So, the globin protein of hemoglobin contains 2 alpha and 2 beta polypeptide chains, which forms a hemoglobin molecule. Next, heme part. One molecule of hemoglobin contains 4 heme parts. 4 heme parts. So these are 2 alpha chains, these are 2 beta chains of globin protein. The hemoglobin contains 4 heme parts. One polypeptide chain of one molecule of hemoglobin binds with one heme part. So, one hemoglobin molecule contains 4 heme parts. So, this is heme part. So, one molecule of hemoglobin contains 4 heme parts. Each polypeptide chain of hemoglobin binds with one heme part. Each heme part contains ferrous ion. Ferrous ion. The ferrous ion is located in the center of heme part. In center of heme part. Here, one O2 molecule can binds with one ferrous ion. One O2 molecule binds with one ferrous ion of heme part. So, one molecule of hemoglobin can binds four oxygen molecule. So, one molecule of hemoglobin can carry maximum four oxygen molecule. So, here one O2 molecule, here one O2 molecule, here one O2 molecule, here one O2 molecule. So, four oxygen molecules binds with four ferrous ions of heme parts. So, one molecule of hemoglobin can carry maximum four oxygen molecules. Here, the oxygen binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. This is called oxygenation of hemoglobin. Oxygenation of hemoglobin. The oxyhemoglobin is a very unstable product. So oxyhemoglobin is a very unstable product. So Hb plus 4 oxygen molecules binds to form HbO2 taken 4. This is oxyhemoglobin. So the oxyhemoglobin is formed by the O2 binds with hemoglobin. So O2 binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. But the oxyhemoglobin is very unstable product. Later it dissociates into oxygen and hemoglobin. So oxyhemoglobin is an unstable product. It dissociates into oxygen and hemoglobin. The binding of O2 with Hb, hemoglobin, is primarily related to partial pressure of oxygen. Partial pressure of oxygen. So the binding of O2 with hemoglobin primarily related to partial pressure of oxygen. At lungs, blood at lungs. The concentration of oxygen is high. The blood at lungs, more O2. So, in the blood at lungs, the concentration of O2 is high. So, PO2, partial pressure of oxygen, is also high. This condition is favorable for binding of O2 with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. So, the high PO2 is favorable for the formation of oxyhemoglobin. This condition maintains blood at lungs. So, at lungs, the oxygen binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin due to high concentration of O2 present in the blood at lungs. So, PO2 is also high. Next, blood at cells. Blood at cells. In the blood at cells, the concentration of O2 is low. So low amount of oxygen is present in the blood at cells. So PO2 is also low. Low PO2, low partial pressure of oxygen is maintained at the blood at the cells. This condition is favorable for dissociation of oxyhemoglobin into hemoglobin and oxygen. Next, so PO2, so the binding of O2 with hemoglobin is primarily related to partial pressure of oxygen. At high partial pressure of oxygen, oxygen binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. In low partial pressure of oxygen, the oxyhemoglobin dissociates into hemoglobin and oxygen. Some other factors also influence the formation of hemoglobin and dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. So the other factors are pH, PCO2 and temperature. So these are the other factors to influence the formation of oxyhemoglobin and dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. Blood at lungs. Here pH means concentration of hydrogen ions. pH means the concentration of hydrogen ions in blood at lungs. pH is high. pH is high. PCO2 is low. Temperature is low. So, blood at lungs. pH is high, PCO2 is low, and temperature is low. These conditions are favorable for binding of O2 with hemoglobin. In this process, oxyhemoglobin is formed. Next, blood at cells. Blood at cells. pH is low, PCO2 is high, temperature is high. pH is low, PCO2 is high. Why the PCO2 is high at cells? The cells continuously release CO2 in the blood. So, in the blood at cells, PCO2 is high. The concentration of CO2 is high at the cells. So, PCO2 is also high. Next, cells release energy. A little amount of energy released in the form of heat. So, blood at cells possess high temperature. So, blood at cells pH is low, PCO2 is high, temperature is high. These conditions are favorable for dissociation of oxyhemoglobin into hemoglobin and oxygen. So, hemoglobin carries oxygen from lungs to cells. At lungs, PO2 is high. So, oxygen binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. Now, this oxyhemoglobin carried by blood to cells. At cells, the PO2 is low, pH is low, PCO2 is high, temperature is high. In these conditions, the oxyhemoglobin dissociates into oxygen and hemoglobin. The released oxygen diffuses into cells. In the cells, food is oxidized with the help of oxygen. In this process, CO2 is formed in the cell. This CO2 released into blood. So this is the transport of O2 through blood from lungs to cells. Here, next O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve. O2 HB hemoglobin dissociation. Oxygen hemoglobin dissociation. What is O2HB dissociation curve? High PO2, high pH, low PCO2, low temperature. Next, high PCO2, high temperature. So this is O2Hb dissociation curve. What is O2Hb dissociation curve? If this is x-axis, this is y-axis. Hb saturation with O2. So what is O2Hb dissociation curve? If we take partial pressure of oxygen on x-axis and hemoglobin saturation with O2 on y-axis, then draw a graph. We will get a geometrical curve. It's called O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve. So if you will take partial pressure of oxygen on x-axis, this is x-axis, this is partial pressure of oxygen. Hemoglobin saturation with oxygen on y-axis, this is y-axis. Then draw a graph. We will get a geometrical curve. This is called O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve. The O2Hb dissociation curve explains the relation between Hb saturation or hemoglobin saturation with oxygen and partial pressure of oxygen. So the O2Hb dissociation curve explains the relation between Hb saturation with O2 and PO2. At high partial pressure of oxygen, the oxygen binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. The O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve also explains dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. So, for the O2Hb dissociation curve explains formation of oxyhemoglobin and also dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. So, it explains the relation between hemoglobin saturation with oxygen and partial pressure of oxygen. The oxygen hemoglobin dissociation curve helps in studying of effects of factors such as PO2, pH, carbon dioxide, PCO2, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, and temperature. So, the O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve helps in the studying of effects of factors such as high PO2, pH, partial pressure of carbon dioxide, temperature on the binding of O2 with hemoglobin. At lengths, high PO2, high pH, low PCO2 and low temperature is maintained. So at lines, high PO2 partial pressure of oxygen is high, pH is high, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is low, temperature is low at lines, blood at lines. These are the favorable conditions for binding of O2 with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. So, in these conditions, the O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve rise upwards. So, this curve explains the formation of oxyhemoglobin. Next, at tissues, blood at tissues or cells, low PO2, partial pressure of oxygen is low, pH is low, partial pressure of carbon dioxide is high, temperature is high. So these conditions are maintained at the blood of cells. These conditions are favorable for dissociation of oxyhemoglobin into oxygen and carbon dioxide. So, in these conditions, the O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve shift away from the y-axis to right side. Here, effect of PCO2 and pH on affinity of O2 affinity of hemoglobin is called Bohr's effect. So what is Bohr's effect? Effect of partial pressure of carbon dioxide and pH on affinity of O2 with hemoglobin is called Bohr's effect. Bohr's effect. So the O2 Hb dissociation curve is a sigmoid curve or S-shaped curve. S-shaped curve or sigmoid shaped curve. It explains formation of oxyhemoglobin and dissociation of oxyhemoglobin. In these conditions, O2 binds with hemoglobin to form oxyhemoglobin. In these conditions, the O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve rise upwards. In these conditions, oxyhemoglobin dissociates into oxygen and hemoglobin. In these conditions, the O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve left away from the y-axis, falls downwards. So this is O2 hemoglobin dissociation curve. This is transport of oxygen by plasma and by RBC.